what you just said go by. First of all, Congresswoman. So I am so, and then let's just stop for a minute and say 2nd Congressional District.
Yes!
We could just stop there and it would be a completely satisfactory day for me. I'm not kidding. Most of you, gosh, I see so many CD2 folks here, and that is the story of this entire election cycle for me. It was getting up and going one more time, and that is going to be my message to women everywhere across this state and across this country. If it takes, on average, more than once to win a seat in Congress, if we don't run more than once, we will never be fully represented at the policy-making table. So we have to start thinking in those terms, and I know I have a DFL chair who'll support that in Ken Martin, so that's fantastic. Last week was my first week in Congress. I was sworn in a week ago Thursday. I'm glad there's not much going on there right now. The first week has really been about getting federal workers back to work and getting the services to our nation's citizens restored fully. And as you all know, Democrats came in on our first day in Congress and we said, let's go ahead and pass the Republican bill that the Senate passed a few weeks ago and get the government back up and running. This administration and Republicans wouldn't take yes for an answer, and they won't bring it back up in the Senate. And what I've said publicly about this is, do you think this was the bill, the appropriations bills, the continuing resolution that I wanted to vote for? No. It was a compromise for me to walk in there and have my first vote be a vote for a Republican bill. But that was the right thing to do. But the other side won't take it up and they won't get this government back up and running. And to me, that's exactly what's wrong with politics in this country, is everybody's so worried about winning the day, winning the political fight, that we aren't worried enough about what is happening to each other and to our neighbors as a result of that political fight. So I'm going back to Washington this week to say, open the government back up. Let's get the government back up and running. Now, because we can, walk and chew gum at the same time, we had that fight this week, but that didn't stop us, and it didn't stop me from co-sponsoring my first 2 bills. And H.R. 1, campaign finance and government reform to take on the corruption in this country, was the very first bill that Democrats introduced in the United States Congress, just like we said we would. Like we said we would. And most of you and all of you from CD2 know that 13 to 15 months ago, I wrote a white paper. It was about 12 pages long, and almost every element of H.R. 1 was in that white paper. And I've been working with John Sarbanes and others in the United States Congress to make sure that that is a huge, high priority. On Friday, I sign on to my second bill. That bill will not allow any member of Congress to receive pay if the government is shut down, either fully or partially. If I can't do my job, I shouldn't get paid. That's what it's like in the real world. If you don't go to work, if you don't do your job, you're not going to get a paycheck at the end of the day. And I believe that that is how we should hold ourselves accountable as members of Congress. So I'm going to go back this week. I've said not only am I going to sponsor that bill, but I'm going to live by the words I speak. And that means that I will be donating every penny of every paycheck I get until this Congress is fully funding the federal government to food pantries throughout the 2nd Congressional District.
Nice.
But there is a hell of a lot of other work we got to get done. So as I go back next week and I await my committee assignments, I'm thinking about how do we make sure that every American and every Minnesotan has health care in this country. I'm thinking about how do we invest in infrastructure in my congressional district to promote economic growth and development. I'm thinking about how do we change the way we think about education and the economy and prioritize career skills and technical education again. And I'm thinking about how do we finally pay teachers what they deserve for the work that they do in this country. So I'm going back this week. I know who I work for. I work for the people of the 2nd Congressional District. I'm going to stay focused on doing that work for them. But I'm here also this morning just to say thank you, because the progressive allies in this room created a historic sweep in this state on Election Day in 2018. We can't waste that. We can't waste that. This wasn't about winning an election. This was about what do we do to make people's lives better in this country. And we will have wasted it if we forget that for 1 minute. So I want to say thank you to all of you who were instrumental in helping me reach my neighbors door to door, call to call, to convince them to give me a shot to fight on their behalf. So thank you so much, and it's just an honor to be here this morning as your Congresswoman. Thank you.